Summer may be over, but did you catch one of the summer's best films of this year? Let's talk about Alien Romulus. Alien Romulus is a movie that takes place between Alien and Aliens, aka Aliens 2. It is a very interesting place to put this film because we don't have any stories that take in between these two movies. Because if you don't know, there is a big time jump between Alien and Aliens. So it does fill in the gaps in some regards. And I want to start off by saying too is that a lot of people are saying that Alien Romulus is a rehash of everything we've seen from Aliens. And I want to disagree with that. It does do a lot of callbacks, and there's a lot of moments where it's like, yeah, I remember seeing that in Alien, I remember seeing that in Alien Resurrection, Alien 3, even Prometheus, there's stuff like that. But I think it's not a rehash. If anything, it's connecting everything together. It's time that there's a movie that connects everything together. And I don't want to really say that this is the Force Awakens of the Alien franchise either. Because even though this movie is kind of similar to how Alien and Aliens is, it's kind of like a combo of both. I think it's more of like the tone that those movies brought. I think that's where people may be arguing that it's a rehash. I think the tone is very, very similar. They bring back practical effects for this film. Very little use of CGI when it comes to the xenomorph. It does feel like you're going back to that tone that the Alien and Aliens movie had, because also this movie is not really an action movie, it's a horror movie, which was something we hadn't really received in the Aliens franchise for quite a bit. I think you could even argue since the first Alien movie. And I don't think it's taking a step backwards, but rather a way of connecting the tones, the different tones that this franchise has had. Because this franchise has been a horror movie, has been a space odyssey in Prometheus and Alien Covenant, what is the meaning of life? Very tough philosophical questions that the prequels had. And then when we go into the later films like Aliens and so on forward, Aliens 3, Aliens Resurrection, the movies are not really horror films like the first one was. They're more of action, sci-fi, space adventures. So when we get Alien Romulus, we get a combination of all those tones. And each of the eras of this franchise gets its moment. But now going back to the film was spectacular. The casting couldn't have been better. They do a good job at quickly introducing you to them without it feeling rushed. You actually care when someone dies. Maybe you were hoping they would die, or maybe you were hoping they could maybe make it out. The director did a fantastic job at introducing us this crew and immediately just knowing what the stakes were. The cinematography of this movie was so spectacular that I really hope it gets a nomination for Best Cinematography at the Oscars. I think Dune will win, but this movie deserves a nomination, at least a nod. The fact that this movie was made on an $80 million budget is absolutely outstanding. $80 million, and this movie looks better than a lot of $200 million movies. This movie knew what to do with their budget. They knew where to spend it. They knew how not to rush the visual effects artists. They let them cook. The last 15 minutes of this movie, if you haven't seen the TikToks already about it, those 15 minutes alone are the reason to watch this movie. Because the build up to all that in the movie, when I was first watching the movie, everyone said, oh, the 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. There came a time where I was like, oh my God, those 15 minutes were cool. But then I didn't realize the movie had another 15 minutes left to go. And then I saw what everyone was actually referring to. And that alone is the reason to go watch this movie. Those last 15 minutes, because the build up to that and everything that happens, of course, like the climax and everything, leads to an incredible finale, an incredible Act 3 that is so spectacular that you need to see it in the big screen. And that's what brings me, again, back to my point. This movie is new. It's connecting everything we've seen from the Alien franchise. The OG movies, the prequels, and this is like the bridge to that. Because that ending connects a lot of stuff that we've seen already from Aliens, but makes something super brand new. And that is why I don't understand why people are saying it's a rehash. I mean, if you do feel that way, I can't change your mind. But I argue that this is a very new film. Rain and Andy are incredible protagonists. Andy is the android or synthetic that is in the movie. You always gotta have that. And Rain played by Kaylee Spiegel, is our classic female protagonist in an Alien movie, and they both killed the roles because those are the two most important roles in any Alien movie, and they both killed it. They couldn't have done a better job than what they did, and you gotta applaud the director and the actors for executing everything at a high level. I can't wait to see what they do with the Alien franchise because this movie's making a lot of money, and that means we're gonna get more Alien movies. But what I really hope they do is that we finally get a finale to David's story from Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I want to see a third movie. And if you really want to continue the momentum you had from Alien Romulus, there is no reason why you can't bring Michael Fassbender's David into an Alien Romulus sequel. Because it connects everything. It can be a third movie for the Prometheus trilogy, but also a sequel to Alien Romulus. You can combine what a lot of people like from the Prometheus movies. That's an opportunity to add more lore to the movie while keeping that same tone that we very much missed from the first two Alien movies. Have you seen Alien Romulus? Let me know down in the comments below because this movie is absolutely outstanding. It's one of my favorite of the summer, and if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend that you do in the biggest screen possible.